fora diabo mazo dia mawe pomba mele fora diabo mazo FONKEM kowie.
Good day, dear viewers. This is Gillet, and you're welcome to Gillet Show. In today's episode of Gillet Show, I will be bringing you a debate for your education and entertainment. The topic of our today's debate is going to be, should husbands assist their wives with home chores?
Yes.
On one side, we are going to have Mr. FONKEM Eugene and Mr. Nkengasong Gabriel, who hold the opinion that husbands should assist their wives with home chores. Mr. FONKEM Eugene and Mr. Nkengasong Gabriel, you are welcome to the program today.
Thank you, Gillet, for having us.
Okay. And on the other side, we are going to have Mr. Nchumbongo Austra. Normally, he was supposed to be there with Madame Delors, Miss but due to problems beyond her control, she could not make it. So Austra will be alone on his own side, arguing for the fact that husbands should not assist their wives with house chores. Mr. Nchumbongo Austra, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Okay. And in our debate forum today, we have equally invited a role model of a husband, and his name is none other than Mr. Forka Adolf. Mr. Forka, you are welcome to the program today. By the end of this program, we are going to know the reason why he is our role model husband. So, before I start off with the debate, I am going to call the attention of my audience to understand that the debaters are just actors. So, what they have as an opinion is not that that is how they live in their normal daily life. So they are just using their opinion so as to bring us ideas so that we can educate and enrich ourselves. So I will just give the opportunity to the first speaker, who is going to be Mr. FONKEM Eugene, to tell us the reason why he thinks that husbands should assist their wives with home chores. Mr. FONKEM, you have the microphone.
Thank you once more, Gillet. It's a little bit disturbing to hear that people still hold the mentality that they shouldn't help their wives with the house chores, because in the modern days, I may get where they get their impression, because those days when our parents or the men were the breadwinners of the family, they will go for long days in the military, in the mining sector, and you name them, and their wives will be left at home alone to do everything for them. But today things have changed, and everybody's working. We have ladies who are CEOs, we have ladies who are presidents, and we have ladies working different shifts. And it'll be a little bit disturbing for anyone to want to imagine that we will sit at home and wait for our wives after very long days, working long hours with a lot to do, to come in and cook for us or do other things while we are there. I think it's hard time and things have changed, so we should follow the way things are going.
Thank you so much, Mr. FONKEM. I will then give the microphone to Mr. Austra Nchumbongo. Do you accept the fact that Mr. FONKEM has given?
No, I strongly argued against men helping their wives in house chores. The first point I want to raise here is the lack of knowledge about housework by most husbands or by most men. Most men do not have a good mastery of the various house chores, and therefore it will not be fair to say that they should be doing what they do not have knowledge about. Thank you. That is the first point I want to raise. Hey. Another point is that when men help their wives, in doing house chores. It leads to unfair competition between a man and a woman. Considering the fact that most women they like to compare, this might even lead to divorce in marriages because some men will not want that competition to exist, and that will bring unjustified quarrels within the family, and that can lead to divorce in some houses. Another point I would like to mention here is about time. Most men do a lot of work and they do not have enough time that they can carry out house chores. Therefore, men should not be allowed to do house chores because they don't have time to do that particular work. More so, women always, take men who do house chores for granted. Most of them they take leniency for granted, and when you see men who are doing house chores, their women don't respect them. Take for example, a man who is cooking in the house, and a woman is there, and a man is cooking. Most often, the women do not appreciate what the men do, and therefore, it is not normal for a man to be cooking while a woman is in the house.
Thank you so much, Austra. Thank you for those wonderful points. Mr. Nkengason Gabriel, are you there? Do you agree with what he said?
I don't agree with what he said. It's
okay,
totally wrong. Why? Because men should assist their wife in house chores. Because when a man assists his wife in house chores, you save time for you and your wife to have time to stay and speak together. Because if the woman alone is doing all the work and then you are sitting there, if you should spend all the time you are supposed to discuss some good things, some marital matters that concerns two of you, you will not get that time to do that. And when a man do help the wife in house chores, it make the wife to feel, it strengthens their love. Because the woman feel that this man is like a friend to me, it's not like superior to me, because when two of you come together, you are one. So you and the woman have equal rights. So when you help the woman in house chores, it strengthens your love, because the woman is going to know that this man and I, we are the same and we are sharing equal rights in the house. When a man doesn't do anything in the house, the woman feels she's like a slave in the house. But a woman is not a slave to a man. A woman is equal to the man in the house. So they help each other, they love strengthen, and there are millions of advantages for a man to do the house chores to help the wife.
Ray. Austra, did you hear that?
Yes, I heard that. I still strongly, yes, I still strongly argued about men doing house chores. One important reason is that men do not first of all think they are expected to help in the house. This might sound very funny, but statistics have shown that about 90% of men do not know they are expected to help in the housework. So how come we have to blame them that they don't help in house chores when they don't even know that they are supposed to help in their house chores? Another point is that most often when a man even tries to help, the women usually, come and take over. That no, daddy, let me continue doing this work. Mean that, let me just take an example. Let me say a man is carrying a dishes or trying to wash plates in the house. Most often, when a man starts doing that, you find a woman, coming to take it from him, saying that no, daddy, let me continue doing this, and this job is not meant for you. Meaning that a man normally is not supposed to do that house chores. Another point I want to raise here is women most oftenly, their money not used for the family, whereas men's money is used for the family. So therefore, a man is supposed to have more time, enough time, so that he can fend for the family in order to take care of that family. And as such, a man will not have enough time that he can carry out house chores. Lastly, men easily forget. A man may want to cook. A man may want to cook, but at the end of the day, he forgets even cooking. And when he forgets cooking, the whole family is bound to go hungry for the whole of that day. And therefore, in order to avoid this, it is not proper for a man to do house chores.
Okay, thank you so much, Austra. Mr. Nkengasong and Mr. FONKEM, did you hear that? Any reaction from you guys?
Yeah, Gillet, thank you for coming back to me. It's a little bit mind-boggling to hear that a man who will not forget to eat will forget to cook. A man who will not forget to make children, but will forget to fend for them. I like the argument that Mr. Austra brought up, that women do take each thing that a man wants to do, that they want to do this for you, which is good. But I don't understand why that shouldn't be the same from the man's side, saying that, well, my dear, let me have you do that. It is a little bit questioning when we hear that men do not know how to cook. Of course, we were never born to be cooked, but we learn. And women were never born to be cooked either, but they learn. Meaning that it's still an opportunity for whosoever in this 21st century who doesn't know how to cook, be a man, be a woman, to cook. If you forget to know that most of the best cooks on the planet in restaurants, and you can name them, are men. And if you can do that in restaurants just because you need money, but at home you forget to cook or you don't know how to cook, it's not loving. And as Mr. Gabriel brought up, a lady or a wife at home is not a slave. A wife is a partner in crime and everything. Therefore, everything needs to be done together. So, if, for example, we say that women will not appreciate what men will do, I beg to ask the question: do we appreciate when those women do those things at home when we return? If we say that men do not have time, what about ladies who work 12-hour shift and men are at home? Will you leave your children to not go to bed because your wife is not yet back home to help to make sure that these children go to bed? Would you leave your children at home to not go to school because you think that it's actually the responsibility of your wife to prepare these children and send them to school? I will say no, because that's not the way it works in my house. For example, I wake up, my wife is gone. She has a 12-hour shift. She leaves the house at 6:30. Do you expect her to wake up and wake my children, prepare them, or probably take them to school? To who? So I need to wake up. My wife is gone. I need to make sure that I tidy the house. I need to make breakfast for my kid. I need to take them to school. And if I come back, I need to make sure that the assignment is done. Do I need to wait for my wife to come back? If she has to come back at midnight to help my children, to feed them, to take them to bed, to help them with the assignment, I will say no. If that is the mentality that we have, then I would say that we are missing something and we need to wake up and make sure that we make this house a place that everybody will belong in and not a place for a master servant. And that's my case.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. FONKEM. Austra, any last words?
I still stand on the point that men are not supposed to help their women in house chores. Culturally, in the African context, men doing house chores or cooking is seen in our culture as a taboo. And therefore, it will be embarrassing to see any man doing house chores, other cooking, washing dresses in the African context. And therefore, I can authoritatively say that men are not supposed, to do house chores. Thank God, no, and I rest my case.
Thank you so much, Austra. Thank you, everyone, for your wonderful contribution. And in the house or in the forum, we have someone I will call the model husband. I mean, the role model husband, who is Mr. Forka Adolf. We watched a video in the forum that he sent, and we saw how he was cooking fufu and I think crayfish. And what caught my attention in that video was the fufu aspect of it, which is very difficult to cook. And it happens to be my traditional meal. In the Bangwa language, we call it abe. We eat it with sushi. To ask Mr. Forka Adolf, what really prompted you to cook this meal on this blessed day? Was it like your wife's birthday that you decided to cook this delicious meal as a surprise to her? Or is this what you often do all the time? Mr. Forka, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, thank you, our senior reporter, Madam Gillet. Cooking in the house is just going back as what Mr. FONKEM Eugene has rightly said. That blessed day, I would like to say, I was cooking. We have 2 services in church. I attended the first service in the morning. My wife went in for the second service. Now, I was not supposed to wait for her to come back and be cooking because we got up in that same morning, the same time, while I was going in for early morning service by 7:30 here. She left behind and was trying to be watching some dresses in the house. After doing that, she kicked off for church also while I was coming in. Now, I had to prepare food because the family was there. I went to church with other children, and she went with, children in the house. There are some that they love to move with their mother, some will love to move with their father. I went to church service with some children, and she left with other ones. So as I came back, I was not supposed to wait. I had to cook and prepare each and everyone for the Sunday to enjoy it perfectly. It was not like a birthday. It was not like something like so much ambience, but I decided to prepare so that before she comes back from church, everything must be ready for all of us to eat. When we are walking, we walk hand in gloves. Like now, you are just talking when my guys are just coming back. You say, this crayfish is something that comes to me live. It is live. So when it comes live like this, it has a way of prepare of adjusting. You move the scales. You remove the scales. You have to send it into the fridge. It dies under ice. Then you remove it later on and remove the scales. I cannot wait for a woman always to come before she removes it, because whatsoever a woman is doing, a man is capable of doing it. At this level, I end here so far for now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Forka Adolf, for that wonderful one. In fact, so we had every reason to call you a role model husband. So we all watched that video and we were very impressed, because you did not choose an easy meal to cook like other husbands would do, rice and maybe tomato sauce. You had to go the Bangwa way, I mean fufu and crayfish. So we really applaud you for that wonderful sacrifice in the house. So coming back to our debate, I want to thank the debaters very well. They have done a very well done job. In fact, listening to them, their points were very, very intelligent. They, in short, each of the sides defended their points intelligently, bringing out points, convincing points, of course. So that was it. But remember that in every battle, there must be a winner and a loser. So those who argued on the fact that husbands should not assist their wives with home chores, they scored 9 on 10. Let's clap for them. And those who argued for the fact that husbands should assist their wives with home chores, they scored 9.5 on 10. Let's clap for them. So that was it, dear viewers, but the most important lesson to draw from this debate is the fact that husbands are supposed to assist their wives with chores. I mean, these days, like Mr. FONKEM rightly said, husbands get married to working class ladies. And so when they get up in the morning, when the wife is doing one thing, it is just the normal that you should assist in the other, so that we finish on time, and then maybe they drop the children and they go to work. The wife will go to work on time and the husband as well. So if they do it that way, they will save time, and I mean, it will be for the betterment of the family, because they will both arrive their job sites on time, they will work, and it will fetch income to improve in the well-being of the family. Equally, I want to make this point known. Just as Austra equally said, it's also reasonable to know that it is not correct if, as a wife, you sit and you cross your leg and you send your husband that go to the kitchen and cook. I think it's very, very wrong. You cannot sit and be painting your nails and you order your husband to go and cook. That will not be respectful. So when we say husbands should assist their wives with home chores, it doesn't mean that we should sit back as wives and order our husbands around to go and do the chores. Imagine how a husband can be receiving his guests and the wife just comes in and is asking, have you finished cooking? Imagine the embarrassment. That would be very embarrassing. So despite the fact that we are saying husbands should assist their wives with home chores, it doesn't give the wife the authority to think that maybe she's equal, to the husband, or maybe the husband, it's a right for her to sit back and then order the husband around. In as much as the husband is assisting the wife too should understand and then give him that respect that is due, so that the family will all be peaceful. In fact, cooking as a husband in the house, it's just so romantic. It's so good. It feels so good to see your husband cooking for you. It's very, very impressive. So I want to thank the debaters for doing this wonderful job to come out with this excellent point. So much for following us in today's program. Stay tuned to Gaza Media programs and be blessed.
Ndiye mamwe bomba malefora ndiabe mazo ndiye mamwe bomba malefora ndiabe mazo FONKEM